Doctor Documentary by me, Scott West. Where the mind wanders into an ever-present waking madness when it has no place to dream, I write these words from the bottom of the seems to be that split and don't keep out the cold. Clever words fall on deaf ears because there is no Hollywood. Not out there and here, the jail as big as the street, where you sell your soul for freedom or just something to eat. There's plenty of food in the dumpsters of Union Avenue if you can't stand so much Jesus at the mission before the meal, so much journalism to feed the till of the day's requirement to live, and not a thought of feels, ever really never enough time to be, just alive in half-life moments, but not a person real. And money in between lovers, high and low, wandering this hell looking for some kind of God, like there's poetry in this motion itself, and not a con for wealth, of love, in that order to survive, and everyone is evil if they've made it through this life. The price of admission is death before death, mysterious confusion to control the masses' guilt. This is a bad way to start a film, I know. It's too depressing. I'm sorry. That's why they call me Dr. Documentary, because I make the story, the trite, depressing story, seem better than it is. I shoot the seasons instead of the people to avoid the tropes of guilt. When people go to the movies, they want an adventure, an escape, not a reflection of this hell we live in without the extra step. Sure, you can film the awards on my shelf, I don't mind. Oh, this one is for a film I did, and this one from 1974 Sundance called Mercury Gold. It's about the little people, as a starlet would describe anyone else. It's not about midgets, but this one is. Midgets, 1976, was the little gold statue right next to Mercury Gold. The cameraman tried not to laugh, and the director cackled a bit and then said, "Can you move to the window now and look out through the gap in the Venetian blinds? Like the camera is your eyes to see the robot fighting Superman for space in front of the Chinese theater?" Sure. And he did, holding up the blinds to the camera peek out of the seam where across the way, sure enough, the scrawny, padded, muscle-clad Superman was in a faux fistfight with a man painted silver as if meant to be a robot for spare change, and because there was a premiere going on. The camera zoomed in to the red carpet run. Flashbulbs burst, and the stars were coming in, above as well. "Well," said Dr. Documentary, "shall we wander over and see what's showing?" They both nodded okay, and he, "Okay. Sharon, Kevin, the cameraman, you first. I have to lock up behind us, and the stair is so thin, we can't all fit." So the director and the cameraman, with the big camera on his shoulder, in that order, backed down backwards on the creaky, gray carpeted stair to catch him locking up the door and turning out the light. The cameraman flipped on his light spot on the Dr. Documentary as the stair became a wet walk full of stars from a fresh rain that almost seemed to Mae West, Houdini, Gary Cooper, Madonna. Just below the TVs, the CRT TVs in the pawn shop window, which showed multifaceted reflections of himself through the glass. He fixed his tie and kerchief in the mirror of all the old CRT TVs. A taxi, yellow, honk, honk, splash, zoomed by, and the splash hit their feet. A bit flashbulbs glimmer in the polish of his and up his shoes, his torso. The director said, "Back up a bit and let's get a clean track in." "All right, time to pretend," he said. The street slowed down. "Smile and wave hands with me, won't you?" he said, taking her about the waist like she was his date. "Oh, we aren't together." Flash, flash. Flash, flash. Flash, flash. They both laughed and split apart as the first wave of flashes washed over. The carpet was red. Many blurs of faces, several autographs. That's enough. If I sign them all, they won't be worth anything. Inside the doors, concessions was clearly the main vector of interest for popcorn, he said gaily. "Of course," said. Soon they had their popcorn and something sweet and found a seat somewhere at the back. A man down there at the front wrapping up some long-winded introduction to the cacophony of muted claps. His hand raised towards them, and Dr. Documentary stood up, as the screen did as well. Thigh claps lighting up, dim. Dr. Documentary, in plain white Courier new letter on a black backdrop, came on after ISO films. Splashed his image right now, that instant there, him sitting beside Sharon. Dr. Documentary fell off from overlaying his face. What should I do now? I don't know. It's your movie. Do what you want. Just then, the flip phone in his pocket lit up. You could see through the threads in the dark of the theater. "Excuse me, I've got..." Take the screen's image getting up to step out into the lobby, the cameraman following suit. The swinging doors into the lush red lobby, concessions multifacetous like a rainbow of neon, and sweets, salty, and hot dogs to drink, or however you say that, tending to work in the background, and few posters for upcoming flicks, something with a wizard, like something or other, the continuing tales of John, something about squirrels, and cleanly behind him, Project Green Glow. He flipped the glowing green flip screen open on nigh very nearly the last ring. "Thank God you picked up. It's Garrett. Bad fucking news. And good news." The split screen was jail phone on the right, movie theater glowing bright on the left. "Well, give me the most interesting news first." Well, I have pages, and I think they're pretty, I think they're pretty good, but what? You've been blocked for months. This is great. We had to stop the entire production because of you. What could possibly... Well, I'm calling from jail here for grand larceny. They say my fingerprints were found on MGM backlot prop stage. How'd you even get in there? Have a key? 3 gates you can't even get on without me. Your wife let us in. Scott, I'm sorry. Your wife and I, I assume what you're going to say. We're sort of in an open deal, but she usually tells me. It's not a big deal. Just get on with it. Well, that's good. So you're not mad. Well, I sort of am, but because you didn't know we were like, but whatever. So what was stolen? She drugged me. My drink found passed out next to the big safe and stole my car, the Porsche, James Dean fucking Porsche. I'm sorry, man. How much is your bail? He said. Look, and I have to wear an ankle monitor. Okay, don't sweat. I believe you. I'll be there in 30 minutes with a check for the bondsman. His, Scott's, green Cadillac Eldorado convertible gurgled away clean from the prison gates as they slowly shut behind Garrett, massaging his wrists. From camera in the footwell now to catch a few blinks of the ankle monitor he had on and back up to their level. I'm going to drop you at my house in Mendocino, sort of south of Napa Valley. It's on the coast. Redwoods, a nice view of the ocean, food, dope, and a studio in case you want to record something. Pages, though. I want pages to shoot. We haven't shot a frame in weeks. And the ocean curved out and snaked always beside the Cadillac. Sometimes far below, on the right, green and slick cutting through the middle of the frame and dissolve. The gravel crunched slowly on the drive leading up to Ohm House. The perch and old Doppler ball, bed, typewriter, and a fax machine goes to my office on the lot, directly. My wife is a piece of shit. I'm not mad at you, alright? I mean, I am, but if it wasn't you, it'd be somebody else. I fuck around too, but I tell her, so. She likes to get over on me is how she gets off. She's that kind of whatever. I say, hey, don't lean on the paint, Scott said with force. I'm sorry, man, about the writer's block more than Sarah. It's not like me to get stuck for so long. Claire, you mean? Yeah, Claire, sorry. I don't know. I don't know what Scott said and backed out slowly back onto the thin service road what brought them there and waved goodbye. Garrett looked down at the keys to down below Ohm House, turned sun going in his hand when the clear blue HID lamps had faded out of sight, intermittent into the distance of the forest night. The first long golden key he tried slotted cleanly below the button to the right. What glow? A blue halo. He pushed it, and the doors parted smoothly apart, and he went up. Long white shag carpet on the floor, white king-size waterbed off-center to the right, and a white baby grand piano by the window to the left. The glass wall to the red, orange, pink, purple sunset, thick, shift-tinted glass. There was a remote there, a black one on the white piano face, so he pressed the power button. A rectangular OLED built into the glass came on, obscuring KVLA News at 6 came on at a murmur. Something about the weather. Something about the Lakers, win or lose. Something about LA, of course, as usual. A fluff piece and the litany. People flying kites in the park. Ducks on the water as a kayak crossed. So he began to play around on the keys a bit, mute. What he plays is the music without words of the post on trash. The sun crested the horizon in reverse and cast a ray across the distance of water. Oh my, he stood up from the keys aghast. The piece. We come to you live from Pearl's Oyster Bar, just newly reopened after reconstruction. What took the better part of the summer since that arson that occurred this last February. The reportress put the big foam mic to the lips of the owner, Kurt, something or other his name tag read on his blue collar shirt. In the background, there she was in a short green dress holding a silver briefcase with a big stupid smile on her face, pulling her sunglasses down from her slick black hair, turned away sharply her face and rushed out of frame into a taxi cab. Garrett run to the red phone by the bed, probably the one from that show, with the red phone, I can't remember the name, and called Scott's car phone, one lit up green glowing. Ring ring. And between the black leather seats, between a star-kissed sky, somewhere beside the ocean, above the LA lights. New pages so soon? He said sarcastically. No, I saw her at Pearl's Oyster Bar on the 6 o'clock news. Maybe the cams there picked up more what car she got in. On it. Click. The car slammed home and the distance became the foreground around the slick green convertible what turned below the bright neon Pearl's Oyster Bar that turned off almost as soon as he slotted into the closest parking place to the door. Open. Closed. And nigh very nearly, Kurt, his blue-collar mechanic's jersey red, almost locking the door. Hey, wait, see, closing the... We are closed. No more drinks tonight. Sorry, man, locking up. I'm not here for that. You have cams out here? Man, if you're going to rob me, just do it. No, I'm not. I'm not up to that. Have you seen her, this woman? His wallet picture was old and folded, but clear enough. Someone said they saw her on the 6 o'clock KVL news walking. Have cams? Yeah, come on back. And at once they were in the back office of the underwater bar, the window out to the floor, a fish tank, what puffed up at the tap of Scott's finger here, a yellow pufferfish. Look at the plate. 8800 gub plates on a cab? That's weird. So you want a drink now? I think you might be SOL, buddy. Cab could be anywhere by now. Sure, let me get a rum and coke if you got it. I've got it. I haven't had a drink in 10 years, he said. I shouldn't have offered, man. I'm sorry. Are you sure I shifted the glass around in a twist, the ice wicking up against the cheap crystal, and tilted it back. When the glass came back down, someone else's hand was holding it, in a different bar, somewhere on the ocean. The cruise ship comedian. Where rivers run past corridors end, when the mind needs space and fair weather friends that tend to the first few lines of conversation with as much care as a priest playing its salesman for the tropes of themselves, never giving away too much, always trying to pretend. Love and light is the vantage they claim to impose, with the impressions of their eyes, and you've never met them before. So it seems novel, for the first time real, but it never really is how anyone feels. There's no pretense to a cruise ship comedian. No expectation of persona besides second-rate jokes, free refills to a small cabin, 3 shows a night for a week, maybe 2, and then a bit of nothing to do. I live at sea. I never come in when the tourists leave. The last time was different, though. I met a girl. Dissolve. I was several hands up and a few more down at the blackjack tables in the little bustling casino below the pool on the upper deck. Swimmers shimmer in the starlight, swimming laps off of the moon, and the Jimmy Buffett or Bob Marley rhythms seeping in over the glasses full of watery ice, more so than whiskey and coke slot machines, ding 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 ding, echoing out through the thoroughfares what cross-thatched the big ship Cordelia 1. The camera float above the waves as dolphins match pace like they do with the ship. The golden glow of the casino again came all of a sudden into the foreground as I drew my glass again to my face as another hand was full. A few chips left on for the week, so I pushed in on a 2 and a king. You should hit. A woman walked up behind him, brunette bob, hazel eyes, and a silk green dress to the floor. Her soft hand grazed his back way down to sit at the empty seat to his left. A green wallet full of flat bills she pulled out of the small black Chanel purse over her shoulder. Chips, casting chips, the dealer shout to the floor man. I got to leave, but she caught me by the cufflinks with her soft lacquered hand, again more green the polish of her nails. Stay, play with me, she said softly as the room slowed down like it does when a pretty girl talks to you, shows you the time. You're bad luck, he smiled. Just hit 22. And I can't regardless, I'm sorry, gotta do my job. I sort of work here. Oh, what do you do? You aren't dressed up like everyone else, uniformed. I'm the talent, he said, and the blackjack dealer rolled his eyes pointedly at this. I'm the cruise ship comedian. She laughed a little. I haven't even started yet. What's so funny? He smiled in her eyes, and she smiled back. But catch me after the show if you get tired of the tables. Starts at 9, ends at 10 o'clock. Okay, maybe I show up towards the end, and you come get a drink with me. Okay. He's much older than her and understands, but if you don't laugh, be honest, okay, I need it. Not a yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, she said. She saluted him sarcastically, then seriously. I'll be there. She spoke the words like caught on the air, slow motion, like a whisper into the ambience of time. Games, tourists in tuxedo, swimsuits, dresses, and schemes at all manner of themes, the cacophony of the sea between these two strangers. Once upon a time, his old smoker's jacket, tan and ruffled at the seams, white t-shirt, faded blue jeans. The camera of her eyes behind him fixed smooth track down the gallery of things to do, from the casino past the blue velour lounge, the dance hall and food courts, multifacetous restaurants exuding India spice, fusion from the Orient, spaghetti and fries. Sushi too, the last one, before the theater became apparent in an open double door, what said, "How to do comedy for professionals." All right, so here's Ohm House. The top is a Doppler ball that repurposed. Here's an elevator shaft, a nice sort of like, that is the root structure that holds this aloft, that goes down. And here's a carport above. What is a studio down here. Fish tank at the back, kind of spilling harmonically into the ocean down there on the cliff face. And back up, kind of cycling it through to make this a practical space. And here's the control room back here, and back here would be windows to the ocean. Yeah. And probably within this control, right? Just like is in this room here, that AC unit. It's practical. Pressure continuity harmonic circuit creation established on the 627180 band is necessary. So I need that. And hooking to the cycle there. Everything that you hear going on with the synth and the water continuum there. Anyway, so doing that same thing with the ocean. Yeah. And so we go up the elevator, and we're in the Doppler Tower. And right over here in Dr. Documentary, we'll cut over to that. The Perchinal Doppler Tower ball. Bed, typewriter, and fax machine goes. Da-da-da-da. So Dr. Documentary drops Garrett off at the Ohm house, and that's where Garrett kind of resonantly finishes his character there by the ocean on the keys of the piano. So there's in the pane of glass that faces the ocean, everything is white in that room. There's a white baby grand on the left that he sits down at. And there's an OLED built into the glass. That's clear glass that he flicks on, and the news is on. Right? Puts the remote down on the back of the piano and begins to play. What does he play? This. Skip the movie. Under the canal. And he plays it to the sunset, going down in the distance. Camera kind of right over his shoulder, the white piano off to the left, kind of angular. You can see his hands sort of almost touching the keys. And he looks up every once in a while to watch the sun going down in the distance. Purple, pink, red, orange, iridescent. The curtains call. But there ain't no curtains at all. I got carried away, was nervous for you to see. Said, trembling. This is recorded at the Hilton right next to the Peabody downtown. And I walked out from the piano and walked into the Peabody and then got in the elevator. The recording's still going. And up onto the roof of the Peabody. Where I kind of stayed for a while. So I lensed it into that. So you hear it progress away from the piano, harmonic, up there, above the city. 1,000 years ago, somewhere in the heart of Spain. did the vocal somewhere
better,
else,
lesser, higher known brothels at the coast. Sending Bob from Kazakhstan, coming in from the law. Some old nursing home on Mars.
There's the Scheidt Music Center at U of M, where I was arrested for playing the piano by an angry pair of black guys one day last year. I did. They didn't like me on the keys. They came in with their guns drawn out and took me down, all the way downtown, to jail.
Closing time.
But you won't hear about that on the news, will you?
The frame, not knowing what to think. It's too beautiful, he cries. On command, because he doesn't know what to dream. Many years away, memories in a fountain that used to work good. Pigeons that would scatter, and you'd see it from your hand in the water.
La 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 na 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 na. Platitudes and latitudes until we get there. You gotta fake it till you make it.
Except I love
In
you.
space. Yeah. And I had to write this in the whole thing in Crayola marker, and sometimes the nurses at the mental health institute they wouldn't let me keep the tops on the markers, and the pen would dry out really quick, so I had to write really fast. Hi, I'd like to welcome everybody here to How to Do Comedy for Professionals. I'm glad everyone has come here. You're taking your time out from your vacation to learn a little bit about how to do comedy and maybe be become a professional at jokes. So first impressions are everything. So dress like a clown. Yes, dress like a clown because people understand that clowns are funny and that you are there dressed as a clown to make people laugh. And the second thing that you're going to want to do is tell funny jokes. People love to laugh. They understand you're a comedian because at this point you're dressed as a clown. But now you have to tell jokes to make them laugh because that's why they've come to a comedy show. Or do prop comedy. Slip on a banana peel. Use a whoopee cushion. Sit on it. Get laughter. When that is done, take out a rubber chicken. People love rubber chickens to make them laugh. But some people hate them. At this point, try a can of snakes that pop out when you open the top. Maybe honk honk, a horn or something. Do something to make the audience laugh. You are dressed as a clown at this point. It would be silly not to, right? So, why do some people not dress up like a clown to do comedy, and what that means to the audience? We'll talk a little bit about that right now. And why an audience can expect comedy from a person not dressed as a clown. So What would a comedian wear besides a clown costume? Well, some comedians just wear regular clothes, like this. And no clown makeup at all. If you want to be respected as a burgeoning young comedian, burgeoning in comedy, you have to dress like a comedian, or otherwise no one will respect your jokes, and you won't make any comedy money. You won't make any comedy money. People have to laugh at your jokes for you to make comedy money. It stands to reason. Jokes are serious business. A successful comedy routine can make lots of money, and that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, you take your comedy cash and invest it in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or cryptocurrency. You can buy with comedy cash, the comedy cash you earned by telling those jokes as a successful comedian. There is no promise that Comedy Coin, I have to say this, there is no promise that Comedy Coin will increase in value, but if you buy it, it could potentially go up a lot. And that possibly is one of the cornerstones of Comedy Investments LLC. And so starting a comedy business isn't easy, it goes without saying. But with enough good jokes, you can start building a successful comedy routine, and that successful comedy routine will lead to laughter. And laughter means that you are making money as a comedian. Making money as a comedian is the reason to go into comedy. Jokes produce laughter. Laughter is a product of comedy. Comedy is worth a lot of money if you know how to tell jokes as a good comedian. And I have to reiterate, comedy is not a joke. It is a serious business. And if you work hard enough at jokes that will produce laughter, laughter that makes money, money equals Comedy Coin. So, what are jokes? And how do you tell them? Where do jokes come from? Why do jokes exist? Well, jokes started over 2,000, 3,000, 6,000, and or 365 million years ago exactly, and no more and no less. And that is the science of religion, science, and there's a science to jokes that a lot of people don't know about, but some people do, and those people are called comedy scientists. Sorry, and comedy scientists have developed a theory about the history of comedy and jokes that is true regardless of it being hypothetical. I'm telling you. All right? Or you are a dummy. And comedy scientists will get very angry if you question the history of jokes. So don't do that. It's a good rule of thumb. All right. As he was rounding the back 15 of the comedy routine, she smoothly slipped in the back and sat at one of the booths, circled and thinly illumined with a candle, or maybe the chandelier's gleam caught a glimmer in the jewel, a large green stone, and a thin sliver necklace bound silver matched near perfect her green dress and gold green eyes. He stumbled on his lines. but kept going after a moment of time. She flagged down a waiter for a neat whiskey and ice. And his voice, my voice, the voice of the cruise ship comedian, became somewhat sad, lights dimming down as she smiled from the back, now raising a toast to him, and smiled on her way to Hawaii and then who knows where in the distance of outside time. Do you mind if I read you some poetry? His notebook was clutched to his chest. Speaking to the new girl on floor 3, the audience replaced by a short hall, the space between the men's and women's wing where you can sit and talk to each other as long as you don't touch. I'm sorry if his gray sweats were apparent, eyes tired of crying. If they are depressing, is all I can stomach to write. I'm sorry. Do you still want to hear them? She nodded her head yes, and they sat in the little cul-de-sac in front of the nurse's desk. She kissed him quickly on the lips and let her eyes speak of love instead of saying it. Okay, he said. Here's the first one. Okay. She let go of his hand really quick as the attendant turned around to look. Smote mint a vindelock cinder, esle de siash, where lilac grows in splendor, squirrels pick berries from the heather hollow's thatch. Vines grow deep into the valleys, not all the worlds are smelt ripe on the ruins, where stone pyramids is mystery, if you don't know what to do with the words to describe, how to conjure history from the stars in the sky. This one's called I Cry When She Cries. What's left in the ashes after the rain that makes the Indians stop singing for grain, and hearts grow tears from the stories that unfold, from the shadows of history's glories and toil. Something of sadness motions the archetypes, something of joy as the rain falls on the tomes beyond the old forest, in the folds of the old and mountain beyond the desert of stereotypical time, scenes from a film I once saw where the heroine cried, I love you, but no one replies. Poem for Emily. A vantage always receding to form the words to meaning, because there is no reason in the reason. Everything is moving and not still, wherever it was back then, back there, in the distance of time's wishes down the well of ego's fire. To epiphanous empires of empiracy, like pirates on an endless sea of thought's designs, that what tend the moors and mastheads, conceptions of love, as if it is this, looking back and looking forward in her eyes, and it's summertime. Ovidians. Such a fragile leaf as this, drifting down into the rift with dewdrops honeyed as the window's wisps incline, to printing cakes and pies and bread in this place is called Ovidians. It's open from 6 to 5 and sells fish after then, but they close up inside. Some oil and salt is good with dried fish. The tourists come here just as much as the locals, and sit and smoke cigarettes and talk about the news or each other or nothing at all. Castle on the cliffs with lighthouse. Sometimes I sit and gawk at the pelicans holding aloft the wind, or the other way around, out of my spire in the shale part of Old Town, where the ocean finds the canal by the port. Sailors get drunk and throw rocks at the birds. Broke from the whore's palace and passed out by the water's edge. Nothing special. Just another day in my castle on the cliffs with lighthouse by the sea. Lisa moaning. The best-looking whore in the lowest keep of the highest palace on the Salton Sea weeps for attention with false blue eyes that spark, speak of nothing of the ocean and nothing of the tides, keeps the time on her dresser resplendent with oils, lest concubine's furnace where Venus unfurls riddles in the emptiness of dark time that hold up the stars with the moon and the tides. To the bedpost, tears from the lamp, what makes feel the unfeeling to come how they can't. Understand her mercurial minds behind the chasm she casts with the scries of her eyes. Light years in the sun, curses oblivion, tongues made of love. I wrote this one for a nurse that I kind of had a crush on. I think she liked me too. It's called Nightingale. Where the neon competes with the sun, and hope finds heart in Avalon, emotions become the motions of thought. Apples, just fruit, make devils of gods, and love watches the grass grow with him, wears a white dress, spins around in this bliss. Gardens of kisses, trite rhymes with no scheme, no weight of heaven's infinity things. Nightingale perches above the stream of the street, glowing and singing of cigarette dreams, wine, beer, and hot food, cold drinks in the aisles. It's hard not to fall in love with her smile. Everything else is closed at this hour. The end.